Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Sportsmemo's College Football Forecast. My friends, we come to you every Thursday during the NCAA football campaign, bringing you tons of free winners, amazing betting insights, and a few laughs to boot from some of Sportsmemo's documented leaderboard fixtures. So grab that helmet, lace up those cleats, and get ready to make money in college football this weekend. We've got an amazing show this week. Let's bring this good-looking panel on. I love him. You love him. Around the horn, Mr. Jesse Schule, Mr. Nick Parsons. You know him as the Insiders Room, and Dan Kaiser. Let me start with Jesse. Good afternoon, Jesse. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Joe. I'm doing great.
I love those hats, Jesse. My good buddy Nick Parsons. I was so honored to have Nick back on the First Family Show. He took a couple of days off from doing videos. I know we're glad he's back. I know all of you out there are glad he's back. Nick, how are you today?
Yep, doing great. I'm back in action, so ready to go for the rest of the season.
And the man himself, Dan the Man Kaiser. Dan, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. The old band's back together. Yeah, I've known Jesse and Nick for a long time, so it's good to be on the show with them.
You know, it's like getting the four original members of KISS back together. Even though I lost all my hair and I'm walking on with a wheelchair, I'm coming on with a dolly, it's still good to get some of the best in the industry back together. And guys, I am very proud to be on this Thursday panel of the College Football Forecast with three of the best in this business. Without any further ado, I've got a couple of announcements. First of all, hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss any of our sports betting content here at Sportsmemo TV. And I say it every show because it's true. The customer appreciation at Sportsmemo is unrivaled. We know that saving you money just as good as making you money. We have a couple of things we want to make you aware of before we get into today's roundtable games and best bet segment. First, guys, the $2 let me try that again. The $2 Tuesday featured cappers are still available. Over at Sportsmemo, we've got two of the best. Dion D'Amico, the First Lady of Las Vegas, and the doctor is in, Dr. Chuck. They're $2 a piece. And our good buddy Jimmy Adams over at Wager Talk, his $2 play is still available. All three plays I found out from Dion, from Dr. Chuck and Jimmy are 5% plays. So after the show, go to Wager Talk, go to Sportsmemo, get these three great cappers, 5% plays, $2 a piece. And now, guys, I got to tell you, every day I get amazed at the customer appreciation at Sportsmemo. And today, the good people over in Detroit, our crew up there, they amaze me again. We've got the granddaddy of them all, one of the best discounts I've ever seen, a new discount. Get 31% off any all-access package at Sportsmemo and Wager Talk. Use code BOO31. Let me explain this real quick. Any 1-day, 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, 90-day, or a 1-year package, 31% off, guys, for any of the cappers at Sportsmemo or Wager Talk. But you know how I like a big butt? You can only buy one, so choose wisely. Choose your favorite and go from there. My friend, go over to Sportsmemo after the show. Take advantage of those amazing discounts we currently have offered. Plus, check out that deals page because every single day, even us, the cappers, don't know we could be featured on the deals page with a special discount. Now, real quick, every professional, successful sports bettor, sports handicapper I know use the Gold Sheet. The oldest and the most respected of all the betting publications out there after the show. www.goldsheet.com. Use what the pros use. Guys, I love it. You love it. I know every capper on this panel uses them. So, God, even I run out of wins sometimes. My friends, before we get into today's roundtable games, we've got three doozies for you. My good friends over at my favorite sports book in the world, the Superbook at the Westgate, wanted me to make you aware of three line movements made by the wise guys this week. Now, we talk every week about how the general public, weather conditions, injuries can all affect the line movement. But these specific games, these three college football games were moved by the wise guys here in Vegas. We wanted to make you aware of them. First of all, guys, Missouri, from 5.5 down to 4. The smart money plays are coming in on South Carolina. Rocky Atkinson will be happy to hear about that. Florida Atlantic goes from 6 down to 4.5. The sharps are coming out on who? UAB and Oregon. Went from 15.5 up to 17. The wise guys are quacking with the Ducks. Three specific line movements made by the wise guys here in Southern Nevada. Without any further ado, let's get into our first of three roundtable games. Guys, these are three of the best games we've ever featured here on the College Football Forecast Show. The number 2 and number 13 teams in the nation face off all against one another. The Buckeyes, guys. Oh, my goodness. Can you believe this? They've been favorites the last few weeks, from 19 to 31 points the last 5, and only a half a point away from covering 5 straight games. That just astounds me coming into this game. But the Nittany Lions have covered 5 of the last 6 meetings. So our first roundtable game, Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern, Ohio State at Penn State. The Buckeyes, 15.5 from 61. Let's go to the Iceman to lead off the show, Jesse Schule. Jesse, give us your take on this game, please.
Well, Joe, you might remember last week I gave out Iowa as my best bet, plus 31 points at Ohio State, and that did not work out well. In a lot of ways, it unfolded just like I thought I would, but really Iowa would have been better off punting on first down. They held the Buckeyes to 360 total yards, only 66 yards on the ground in that game. Ohio State was 3 of 13 on third down, and still the Buckeyes scored 52 points and easily covered. However, they face a tough Penn State team this week on the road. It's going to be a whiteout. This is one of the toughest places to play in the country, and history favors the home team here. The Buckeyes are 5-0 straight up in the last 5 meetings, but just 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 meetings. Not one of those 6 games was decided by more than 13 points. 15.5 looks like a big number here. Penn State looked really bad against Michigan, but one of my good friends said to me before he passed, if you want to get a true assessment of a team, you take their best game and their worst game, you throw those 2 out, and you judge them based on everything else they've done, and you get a more accurate assessment. I think that holds true for both these teams. I think we're going to see a closer game than some might expect here.
Jesse Schule off to one of the hottest starts I've ever seen in the history of sports betting in college and pro football. Killing it. Great breakdown from Jesse Schule, what we come to expect from him. He says, too many points. Take the points with the home doggy here, Penn State. Great breakdown, Jesse. Thank you for that. Let's go to our good friend, Danny boy, the pipes. Dan Kaiser, one of the smartest guys I know in sports betting. And I know them all, guys. I put them right up there with anybody. Dan Kaiser, your take on Ohio State, Penn State, Buckeyes, 15.5, 61. The floor is yours.
Yeah, Penn State is a tough place to play at night. This is going to be a noon kickoff, and to be honest, it's not a whiteout as the whiteout was last week against Minnesota officially. So the thing about Ohio State, this is only the second road game of the season, so they might get a little bit to get used to, but it looks like Jackson Smith, Najigma will be back for this game. He's only played 1 game this season. And before this season, they were talking maybe he could be a Devontae Smith and win the Heisman this year. C.J. Stroud is a Heisman favorite. 28 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The thing about this Ohio State team as compared to last year is they brought over Jim Knowles from Oklahoma State to shore up this defense, and the defense is playing better. They're top 5 nationally in total yards, passing defense, and scoring defense. My only argument every time against a Big Ten team ranked high in defense is that they are playing other Big Ten teams, and you look at Iowa, Michigan State, and other teams. Their offenses aren't all that great, so you can pile up some good stats. I'm not a fan of Cliff Clifford. Penn State's quarterback. He's been there 6 years, and in 6 years he hasn't. Or Sean Clifford, he's been there 6 years. He hasn't shown much of anything in 6 years as quarterback. To be honest, in this game, I think the Buckeyes are going to get as many points as they want to score in this one. I think Penn State will score because Ohio State did give up some points to Iowa. They gave up points to Michigan State, so I think Ohio State gets probably 40 in this. I'm going to take the over in this one.
Great stuff from Dan Kaiser, guys. He says he's going to take the over in this game. Really good stuff from Dan. By the way, guys, I know it's a college football show, but Dan is killing it in the NFL over at Sportsmemo. I know it's a college football show, but, guys, we got to give praise where praise is deserved, and he deserves all the praise in the world. Guys, great breakdown by Dan. So, just to reiterate, once again, Jesse Schule says Penn State. Dan the Man Kaiser says take over in this game. Good stuff. Don't go anywhere. 2 more roundtable games, our best bet segment. Our second roundtable game, another doozy. Serious implications in a game which may determine one of the participants in December's Big 12 championship. This is a big game, guys. Really, mark my words. Okie State has won the last 3 in the series. However, the home team has covered 4 straight. We're talking about Oklahoma State and Kansas State Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wildcats, my homage to Goldie Hawn. Wildcats, 1.5 and 56. Let's go to him. You missed him. I missed him. Nick Parsons, you know him as the Insider's Room. Nick, take it away.
Yeah, Oklahoma State is 6-1 straight up. It's 5-2 against the spread. K-State 4-2 straight up, 4-2-1 against the spread. The Wildcats, they fell to TCU by 10 points last weekend, and Adrian Martinez, he got banged up, and then the backup there, he got banged up as well, Will Howard. And then, the rest of it fell apart after that. Now, Oklahoma State's weakness, it's clearly on the defensive end. But one area they've actually done well in is against third downs. It's actually one of the best in the country in that. But their weakness comes against the pass. But they sort of catch a break here this week because of the quarterback issues for K-State. And really, the Wildcats like to run the ball anyways while they're on offense. TCU, it did run for 224 yards against the Cowboys, and it won. And then Texas last weekend ran for over 200 yards, and it almost won. But this Wildcats offense, I think, becomes a lot more one-dimensional because the focus shifts to Deuce Vaughn. And so, I think that the Wildcats defense, it'll keep them close throughout this game. But I think in the end, the Cowboys offense is just going to be too much. Spencer Sanders and company, they're just going to keep the pressure on from start to finish. And so I have a strong lean to the Cowboys in this one.
Nick Parsons, who's hotter than Antonio Brown's Twitter page. Go watch it, man. That's the good stuff. Our producer, Chris, like that. Nick is really heating up in all sports over at Sportsmemo. He says, Okie State, too much. Great. I love it, Nick. Nick, I really did miss doing these shows with you. I'm glad you're back. And I tell you, every time you're on the First Family Show, it's like the mob. Once you're in, we're not letting you leave, buddy. We love you. I know everybody out there loves you. Follow Nick. You're going to follow him to the back after the show. Sports Memo. Follow Nick with one of these great discounted packages. Let's go to my buddy Jesse Schule. We talk a lot about Jesse and how hot he's been in college and pro football. It's true. But I know Jesse for decades, and he is a killer on the ice and on the hardwood in the NBA and the hockey. So it's not don't just check out his college and pro football, guys, because he's a winner no matter what the surface is. Jesse's going to give you his breakdown. Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Wildcats, 1.5, 56. Jesse, take it away.
Well, Joe, I swept the early games last Saturday, going 3-0 with the 12 noon slate. And then I had one game pending, and that was the K-State game against TCU. Looked great early. They're up 28-10. But as Nick alluded to, they lost Adrian Martinez. Then they lost Will Howard for a while, and things just fell apart from there. Suffered my only loss of the day on that game. But I still believe that this K-State team may be the best team in the Big 12. Oklahoma State has shown some vulnerabilities. My buddy Dan mentioned that they lost their defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, to Ohio State. Their defense doesn't look quite as good as it did last year. The problem is I don't know how you could put a bet on this game without knowing the status of Adrian Martinez, and we're probably not going to know that until late Friday or early Saturday morning. And where I'm looking at this game is, last year, Oklahoma State won 31-20. The previous three games all fell short of combined 50 points. We got a total well into the 50s here. If Martinez plays, I like K-State. If Martinez doesn't play, I like the under. How do you like that?
There you go. Jesse Schule gave you an if and an or. If Martinez plays, he likes them. If not, likes the under. Great stuff, Jesse. Guys, I got to tell you, this Adrian Martinez, once he graduates, let me ask the panel, once he graduates, does he go right on Medicaid? The guy's been playing for like 40 years. He's been around forever. How long did he was at Nebraska for at least 4 years, no? Does anybody know
He's been around a while.
Yeah,
he was
I think
there a
it's
while.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if he played for Knute Rockne back in the day. Guys, great stuff. Nick said Okie State. Jesse says if Martinez plays, it's one. If you take him, if not, the under. Great stuff. Let's go into our third round table game, guys. If you thought the first two were good, this one is really shaping up to be a doozy. Tennessee, one of the 6 undefeated teams left, and they are very confident coming into this matchup, knowing they've taken 8 of the last 9 meetings of this rivalry straight up, and for us, 12 of the last 13 against the spread. That is off the charts. That is just off the charts, guys. That is amazing. One of the best games on the board. Kentucky at Tennessee. Volunteers 12, total 62. I want to find out from Dan if that 12 neutralizes their edge in this. Dan Kaiser, take it away, Kentucky, Tennessee.
Yeah, Joe, that is a point spread right now. That's had me thinking a lot about this game. Tennessee's coming off that big win over Alabama 2 weeks ago. And hopefully hopefully Nick wasn't going to take this angle, but people are saying, oh, this could be a trap game for Tennessee because they got Georgia on deck. But I don't think I don't know how it can be a trap game considering that they know that if they still have a chance if they lose to Georgia, or if they beat Georgia and lose to Alabama, they still have a chance to make the playoffs. But if they lose this game to Kentucky and beat Georgia, then they're gonna have to beat Alabama, and then that's a tough road for them to follow. So this you almost think. I know it's hard to say for Tennessee, but this is almost like a must-win game for Tennessee. I mean, they can do a good job of solidifying, at least being in the argument for a college football playoff spot, even if they lose down the road if they win this game. So they really can't afford to lose this one. I was talking about C.J. Stroud as being a Heisman Trophy favorite, but I think Hendon Hooker is the favorite right now to win the Heisman. I'm looking at Kentucky. They always play some tough defense, but I'm not sold on Will Levis. He was expected to be maybe a top 5 quarterback, top 5 pick in the NFL as a quarterback, but he's not played well in some games. He's 32.9 QBR against Florida, 41 QBR against Ole Miss. Ole Miss defense didn't look good last week. I know Tennessee's defense can be hit or miss, but Kentucky's not Alabama. I just think this game is going to be close early, but I think Tennessee, just the way they play, will wear that defense down there, up tempo style, will cause Kentucky problems later in the game. And I know it's a big number, and I know there's all those things going why you would take Kentucky. I think Tennessee this year is a team on a mission, and I think they're going to try to pile up the points. They're going to try to win this one big going into the Georgia game. So I'm going to take Tennessee minus 12.
Dan Kaiser doing some great work over at Sportsmemo, particularly on the NFL side, guys. He said, take Tennessee, lay the 12. He's not afraid of it. He's not afraid of who they're playing up on deck. I love that. Dan, great breakdown, great analysis, what we've come to expect from you. Guys, we're going to go to Nick Parsons. Let's see if he agrees with Dan. Like I tell you, Dan and Nick go back a long time together, and they rarely see eye to eye, and they make for a very entertaining show. But I want you to know, that's why I love the Sports Memo Cappers. We don't have cookie cutouts of one another. You're not going to get one guy just regurgitating the same thing the last guy just said. We have different angles, but numbers don't lie. We're all winners. Let's go to Nick Parsons. He's a winner, and he's got the best hair on the darn panel today. Pisses me off how good his hair is. Guys, let's go to Nick Parsons. He's a winner. Nick, Kentucky, Tennessee Volunteers, 12-62.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Dan and I have known each other a long time, and we have been known to disagree every now and then. And listen, I'm not sure if this game would be on either of our cards. This is a game that we were assigned, and we each have our best bets coming up here, and we'll get into those in a bit. I do have a bit of a different take. I don't think it's actually a trap game, but I mean, you could look at it that way, and some have. But yeah, Kentucky, it's 5-2 straight up. It's on the cusp of eligibility after its 27-17 win over Mississippi State 2 weeks ago. It was a 3.5-point underdog in that one. And obviously Tennessee at 7-0, it has bigger things on its mind. Tennessee annihilated Tennessee Martin 65-24 as a 38.5-point favorite. But for me, I think, Will Levis has actually been pretty good for the Wildcats. Dan mentioned some of the games where his QBR was extremely low, but he actually had his best game of the entire season against Mississippi State. He finished with a 91.1 QBR. But the big news out of that game was the return of Chris Rodriguez Jr. He had his best game. He finished with 197 yards and 31 carries. So they averaged 26.4 points. Those two are a good combination on offense, but they're better on the defensive side. They rank in the top 15 nationally in points allowed. And so, yeah, Hendon Hooker, he's got Georgia on deck next weekend. So they have to be careful of not looking past the Wildcats. As Dan said, it's difficult to look past. They need to get all these wins. And so it's not like in the pros or something. But the weakness for Tennessee, obviously, it's a bit of a mixed bag on the defensive end. They usually don't have to be too sharp defensively when you have an offense that averages 50.1 points per game. So that's number one in the nation. But yeah, Kentucky did face a high-powered offense like this in Ole Miss. The Wildcats didn't win that one, but they held the Rebels out of the end zone over the final 3 quarters in that one. So I think Levis is going to have some opportunities in this one, and I think the defense can keep it close. So, guys, I'm grabbing the points, Joe.
Well, guys, I got to tell you, I love Dan and Nick.
Doesn't surprise me.
I do a lot. No, I do a lot of shows here on Sportsmemo TV with these two gentlemen, and they happen to be because they do a lot of the same shows. And I've got to tell you, they are two of the best handicappers, two of the best analysts I've ever worked with, and they have two very different ways of looking at things. So it doesn't surprise me that Nick is taking the points here with Kentucky. It's great stuff, though. I want you to know, guys, like I said, this is not a show. The shows we do at Sportsmemo, we're not just here just to, hey, yeah. And nobody's ever disrespectful to one another. We're giving you the diversity that's only Sportsmemo offers. Okay, nobody's disrespectful. Say you don't know what you're talking about. You know this. We are, and numbers don't lie either. Nick, Dan, two phenomenal cappers, winning records, two different ways of looking at things. So I know that at least one of those guys has something that appeal to every one of you out there. So this is why I love this. Nick, great stuff. Your breakdowns and analysis always got that streetwise edge to it. A lot of common sense, and I love it as a sports handicapper, as a sports bettor. I get smarter every time I listen to one of your breakdowns. So thank you, Nick. It was great. I know everybody out there appreciates you too. Let me run down the 3 roundtable games for everybody. First of all, Ohio State, Penn State. Jesse said Penn State. Dan said the over. Okie State, K-State. Our good buddy Nick said Okie State. Jesse said if Martinez plays, he'll take him. If not, he'll take the under. The third roundtable game, Kentucky and Tennessee. The married couple, Dan and Nick. Dan says Tennessee. I know I get your smile out of you. Dan, and Nick says Kentucky. Guys, great stuff. Don't go anywhere. We got our best bet segment, the most exciting portion of the show. Now, I will tell you guys, we're going to lead off with Jesse Schule. And, I'm the host of the show, and I have a lot of fun here. But the bottom line is I get to work with the best in the industry. I know Jesse for many years. He is one of the best. It's not just it's not that he's just been lucky the last few months. If that's the case, then he's been lucky for decades. I'll tell you that because he's one of the best I've ever seen. Now, I am going to tell you, since the start of this season, even since the preseason, since August, Jesse's been winning on the gridiron college and pro football. I know this is a college football show. Supposed to be talking college football, but he is one of the best also in other sports. Great on the ice. He's great on the NBA hardwood. I know college basketball's around the corner, one of his favorite times of the year. Also great in Canadian football. Guys, and I'll tell you what, we were talking a little bit of other sports the other day because we had Dr. Chuck on one of the shows who does tons of sports. And Jesse chimed in about a few other things I wasn't even aware that Jesse posted. So Jesse's going to tell you what he's been doing. He's going to tell you what he's going to be doing on the premium side. And I've got to tell you, though, after this show, you need to go over to Sportsmemo and follow Jesse with this great customer appreciation discount. This 31% off because you will follow him to the bank. Jesse, the floor is yours.
Well, Joe, you said it. I do play a lot of sports, a lot of different sports, CFL, soccer, and you'll get those on the weekends. So you're definitely going to want to check with me this Saturday. I believe I'm still the #1 guy on the leaderboard with college football at Sportsmemo. Had a big weekend last weekend, so looking to do it again this week. And let's go to the best bet. We're going to weigh in on that game that Dan and Nick were not in agreement on. Gives me the opportunity to, decide who I like. And I'm going to agree with Nick here. I like Kentucky getting the points. One thing that these guys, I agree with a lot of what Nick said and some of what Dan said. One thing these guys did not mention, though, is last year's game. Tennessee won 45-42 in a shootout. Will Levis threw for 372 yards and 3 touchdowns in the game on 31 of 49 passing. Chris Rodriguez ran for over 100 yards on 22 carries. And I do still think this is a slight letdown spot, a delayed letdown spot for Tennessee after upsetting Bama and then playing a minnow in their next game last weekend. I think they're a little bit overvalued here. This is a big rivalry game. I think Kentucky is undervalued based on the fact that the quarterback and the running back have faced some injuries which held them back, which I think they'd probably have a better record if their quarterback and the running back had been healthy the entire season. So the underdog is 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 head-to-head. Road team is covered in 6 of the last 7. I'm going to take the 12 points with the Wildcats.
Gotta love it. Jesse, the Iceman Schule. Guys, they may call him the Iceman, but he's scorching bookmakers. He says, Wildcats. Follow Jesse after the show. You're going to follow him to the bank. He did have to break that tie, that rubber match between Dan and Nick. I'll tell you that. Guys, by the way, Jesse goes back with Nick and Dan for many, many years, too. So it's always entertaining when we have all 3 of these guys on the same panel. Thank you, Jesse. Follow Jesse. You're going to follow him to the bank. My good friend Dan Kaiser, I always talk about him being one of the sharpest guys in sports betting, particularly in college football. And I know there's a college football show, but his NFL, I believe he's topping the Sportsmemo charts the last 30 days in NFL, and he is killing it on the gridiron. I love him. You love him. The great customer appreciation discounts you get over football, a 3-day, a 7-day. It just won't do. I mean, get the 3 to 7. Then you're going to have to come back for more anyway, or get the 30 from Dan. He is one of the sharpest minds in sports betting. He's going to tell you what he's been doing, what he's going to be doing, and he's going to have another free best bet for you. Dan, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Yeah, I'll be honest. I had a tough week last Saturday in college football, but those days happen. So just bouncing back this week, and I'm back on the horse. I've got 5 plays up for college football this Saturday. NFL is going good. I've got 2 NFL plays up for tonight's game, the side and the total. I got a 10% play up for Monday Night Football, and the rest of my NFL card will be up later tonight. My best bet, hey, how can I stay away? Spartans versus Scum. I couldn't stay away from that game. Going way back with the Spartans in this one, if we're expected to keep it close, we get blown out. If you're supposed to get blown out, we keep it close. But I'm looking at this game. This is a big game for Michigan. Harbaugh needs to win this game. And I think the Spartans will play this game tough, at least to start the game. And I think Harbaugh is going to try to establish the running game early and just try to play smash mouth football with the Spartans. So I think we're going to keep it close for at least a quarter. So I'm going to take the under 12.5 first quarter, Michigan State, Michigan.
Great stuff from Dan Kaiser, as I told you. And by the way, Dan, I love the integrity. The integrity that you get from the cappers over at Sportsmemo is unrivaled. Maybe it's because they are the best collection of cappers on the planet. But when we have a losing game or a losing day, it really sticks in our craw. Dan, I love the fact that you've told us that you had a bad day last Saturday, but you are the hottest handicapper in the world over in the NFL the last 30 days. So I want you to know, guys, follow him with this customer appreciation discount. I'm going to tell you right now, he'll bounce back on Saturday, and he's been winning for weeks and weeks and weeks in the NFL. He's a winner. Guys, adjust the headsets, adjust the volumes. I am excited today. We know what happens when I get excited. I don't need to take a Viagra, all right? Make you guys all uncles and aunts on the show today. All right, once again, this NBA season, Joe D leads the pack at Sportsmemo. 7-2 on premium releases. $100 bettors are up. Huh? $1,920. I'm passing in hoops today. I'm not here to give you action. I'm here to give you winners. Didn't love the short card today. Thought it was tough. But I will not leave you hanging without a nice premium winner. I have my NFL Thursday night football winner for you and the Ravens-Bucks matchup. I posted for $10. Just because I'm on fire doesn't mean I'm going to gouge you. I want everybody from $20 parlay card bettors to 20 dime bettors on this winner so they go into the weekend with a bankroll. Now, guys, as you know, I'm the best big game hunter on the planet. All right, I have 3 5% and a 10% play going up tonight, Thursday night, for the weekend football. My 5% play since I joined Sportsmemo, what, a year and a half, maybe longer? Over 68%. My 10% plays 16-2 this season alone. Now, my best bet today, guys, I'm very excited about this, and this may make it as a premium release at Sportsmemo by tonight. My friends, I want to talk about Mississippi. Mississippi sitting in second place in the SEC West, 3-1. Only Alabama and LSU own better records as they are both 4-1. Now, normally I would look at the Rebels' upcoming contest and be a little bit nervous. They've got the Crimson Tide on deck. When is it, though? November 12th. We're going to put a pin in that comeback. But I look at it in a very different way here, guys. Facing an inferior Aggies team this week, which, by the way, they're riding a 3-game straight-up losing streak coming off their and now we'll go back to Mississippi coming off their first loss of the campaign and then getting a bye week before facing Alabama at home gives Mississippi an opportunity to fine-tune their skills here. No letdown or taking their foot off the gas in this matchup. This is a team that needs to win this week. And, guys, you know what? They will win. There is a huge mismatch between – there's a huge – one of the dogs just popped in. There's a huge mismatch between their third-ranked rushing attack and the Texas A&M 101st-ranked run defense. Look for them to steamroll the Aggies on the ground, in the air. Jackson Dart at the helm. Ole Miss also possesses the more stable quarterback. A&M, we all know they've been well-publicized. Some serious issues at this position this season. With Max Johnson sidelined with a hand injury, they've got 2 options. I want to tell you their 2 options. Talk about the lesser of 2 evils. Haynes King, who's got a mere 57% completion rate and 6 touchdowns against 6 INTs. And the true Frosh, Connor Weigman, who's only appeared in 1 game thus far of completing just 8 passes. Guys, please remember either of these 2 quarterbacks are going to have to face a very nasty, very angry, very ferocious Mississippi defense that's allowing just 20.8 points a game. By the way, I also feel that Lane Kiffin is a better in-game coach than Jimbo Fisher. All right, I'll take Mississippi here for a big win and a cover. What's up, babe? I got a note. Okay. All righty. So now let me go over to my good buddy, Nick Parsons.
Yes, sir.
All right. I want to tell you guys about Nick. I get to do a lot of shows with Nick. He took about a week off because he was doing some moving, and we know how frustrating that can be. And not only did you guys out there miss Nick, I want you to know that we missed him. We missed him quite a bit. While I get to work with Nick, I get to listen to his analysis and his breakdowns. And I've worked over the last 20 years with some of the best in this business, and I put Nick right there with any of them. And I also put his reputation and his win-loss record right up there with any of them as well. Okay? Nick's going to finish up the best bet segment. I did this intentionally, guys, because we had a question about a game that I'm going to get out of a bonus game in a minute. I did this intentionally. Normally, I finish up the best bet segment, but we had one of the viewers ask a question about a game that I have some information on. So Chris is allowing me to go to do it. Nick and then me finish up. But guys, I want you to know that every time Nick is on the show, our viewers go up. And I got to tell you this, I get smarter. And I've been doing this for 40-something years. One of the sharpest guys in this business. If you don't believe me, numbers don't lie. He is heating up like Kanye West publicist. And I got to tell you, Chris likes that. Kanye West publicist. Go look up his social media. You know what I'm talking about. He's one of the hottest cappers in the world right now. I'm glad he's back doing the videos. I know you're glad he's back. Nick is going to tell you what he's been doing, what he's going to be doing, and he's got another free best bet. Nick, the floor is yours.
Yep. Thanks, Joe. This college football season definitely did not get out on the right foot for me, but I've won now 5 weeks in a row. I was the top college football capper at Sportsmemo last week. And I'm number 3 overall over the last 30 days, going 14-6. That's 70%. And so definitely looking to keep the good times rolling here in week 9, guys. Can you believe it? We're already past the halfway point. But here we go into this one. I'm sort of a situational handicapper at heart, a contrarian as well. But I think that, the team that needs to win this game more is going to win this game. And so for this game, we're going to Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Both teams are on the cusp of eligibility. The East Carolina Pirates, they're 5-3. BYU is 4-4. East Carolina, though, it's won 5 of its last 7, and BYU has lost 3 straight. So clearly, this is a big game for BYU. But this could be a good opponent to go against. Despite the superior record, the Pirates, they're still just 3-3 their last 6 on the road. Now, ECU, they have a great quarterback, Holton Ahlers. He has over 2,400 yards passing. He has 18 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. They have a really good running game as well. They average over 165 yards per game. And defensively, they're actually quite good as well. They only give up 390.7 yards per game and just 24.6 points per game. But as I pointed out, the Pirates definitely play better at home than on the road. And that is the same for BYU. BYU has won 5 of its last 6 at home. And I would argue that Jaron Hall has been even better than his counterpart today. He has over 2,100 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. The ground game has also been a really strong point. They average 145 yards per game. The weakness, it's for sure on the defensive end. They allow 30.3 points per game. But if you look at East Carolina's schedule, it hasn't been that difficult. I think that the Cougars are the correct call here. They're going to play with a major sense of desperation after 3 straight losses. And then East Carolina, if you look at it sort of from a situational standpoint, it has its bye week next week. And then it has 3 really big games at Cincinnati, against Houston, and at Temple. So as I mentioned, I'm going to take the hungrier, more motivated home side. I'm on BYU.
Wow. Did I tell you one of the best analysts in this business? His breakdowns are off the charts. Nick, I sat here like a court stenographer taking notes. I love you, buddy. Guys, Nick is killing it over at Sports Memo. After this show, go follow him. You're going to follow him to the bank. Best customer appreciation discounts on the planet. Where? At Sports Memo. Follow Nick. He's a winner. Now, guys, normally I would close the show, but we had a question from one of our viewers, and I want to answer it because I have something prepared on it because it's something I gave out on the First Family Show today. A good friend, Zoni from NorCal, said, great show, guys. Do I have an opinion on the Pac-12 game, Utah versus Washington State? Now, guys, we do the First Family Show Monday to Friday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern. Myself and my wife, the First Lady of Las Vegas, who's the yin to my yang. Believe it or not, she's the only person in the world to get me to shut up. We've got the best collection of cappers on the planet over at Sports Memo, and each day we got somebody from Wager Talk stopping by too. Guys, I gave out this play this morning, and since we had a question upon it, I asked our producer. He said it was fine, fire away. We want to make our viewers happy. Zoni, get ready. Put the cotton back in the ears because I'm going to get excited again. Both teams here coming well rested. They come off a bye week, but I do feel there's a bit more urgency for the Utes to win outright. They're at 3-1 in conference play, which is technically tied for 3rd place in the Pac-12. Utah really do need to keep pace with UCLA, USC, and Oregon. They have taken 3 consecutive meetings over Washington State with the average margin of victory coming by 17.6 a game. Yes, their defense, I'm not going to argue this, their defense has yielded a lot of yardage and a lot of points the last 2 outings against the Bruins and the Trojans, but I just don't see the lackluster Cougars having the same success in this matchup against them. Washington State really can't rush the ball at all. They solely rely upon the pass, and Utah's pretty darn good defensively against the pass, guys. Talking turkey. It seems as though the Washington State offensive line is kind of, guys, they've thrown the towel the last few weeks. They've folded. They've given up 11 sacks the last 2 weeks. They had insult injury. The Utah defense is one of the best in the nation at creating turnovers. They've snagged 10 takeaways already. I think you'll see a major mismatch also with the Utes' well-balanced offense against the Cougars that has allowed other well-balanced offenses to put up quite a few points on them this season already. Some ATS trends for you. Utah, 19-9 the last 28 versus conference opponents, 6-2 the last 8 versus teams with a winning record, 18-6 the last 24 following a straight-up win, 4-1-1 the last 6 following a bye week. I think this team is good for a double-digit win. Zoni, we always aim to please on this show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your question. By the way, one of our viewers out there, maybe we could bring on everybody, Chris, one of our viewers out there who's a regular, guys. He tunes in every day. D, by the way, on the First Family Show, my free plays are on a 10-2 run. That's documented. Go back to the last 12 shows. I bet our good friend D, who says I owe him dinner in Vegas because we were against each other on the Rockets Jazz play the other day. I do owe you dinner. I'm a man of my word. Before you come out next time, you let me know, and I will make time to come see you and take you to dinner. And I won't be like Jesse Schule. I wanted dinner from him. He took me to Denny's and told him it was my birthday. I promise you it'll have linen napkins and violins. I promise you that. Guys, we really, really, really aim to please here on the Sports Memo TV channel. And real quick, I want to thank Jesse, Nick, and Dan. I always say it because it is true. I get to be on the panel with the best people in the world, let alone in this business. The best people in the world, but the best guys in this business, doing what I love to do, coming to you, giving winners. And we take a lot of pride in the fact that you will take time of your busy day to watch us and to put your hard-earned money on where we say to play. We take a lot of pride in that. The people here at Sports Memo, they are unrivaled. They're the best collection of cappers on the planet, but they are some of the best people on the planet as well. So having said all that, don't forget to tune into Sports Memo TV's amazing content. Hit that subscribe button to get a reminder. You don't want to miss any of our Cappers Free winners or betting insights. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Remember, increase your chances of making a profit. Follow the best collection of cappers anywhere on the planet here at Sports Memo, because we don't go gambling. We go winning. It's about that time. I got to hit it. We got to get out of here. Guys, we do have the First Family Show tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. We've got the Pro Football Forecast Show. I got to tell you, Friday afternoon, you're going to get the triple-double. Ronald's hosting that. He's doing some great work with Moneyline Matt. Tune into all our content, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, you will not go wrong. All right, it's time to get on out of here. On behalf of Sports Memo, Jesse, Dan, Nick, and me, Joe D'Amico, everyone out there, good luck and have a winning day.